doubt if Boris Johnson's doing another address. Rhubarb, rhubarb, rhubarb. Yes, indeed, Alice. Hello. Good evening. We're doing rhubarb again. How are you? How is your Sunday going? Holy holy. Whoop. All well, super duper. Glad to hear it. We are just finding out if our esteemed leader is making another public address this evening, and whether or not we can all hide. Promptly ignore it. We're in a relaxed Parisian. Yes, don't worry. I've realised that, Alice. I'll give you a call about that. But for now, what we are doing is fermenting rhubarb for the first time. Can't see there's anything good. Right, Boris Johnson's not talking to the nation. Yes, we're doing a recipe, Alice. Sorry, the intro music's still playing here. Hang on. Not really a fade out there, but just hit pause. We are doing fermented rhubarb with chilli and ginger. So, yeah, hopefully it should be nice. Not done it before. Just happened to see in our various travels there was some available rhubarb. And having seen that recipe and saw some of the available chilies, thought, why not? So, what's it to be served with? That's a good question. I was mulling that over myself because I looked at where we got the recipe from. It suggests anything from your yogurt you have for breakfast to a crumble. I imagine it could be used as quite an interesting... Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze as well. Oh, excuse me. Oh dear. Could be used as just a dessert on its own. Might be quite an interesting thing to try. Thank you. Yes, bless me. Gesundheit, indeed. Because you can have fruit and meat. So I was contemplating what meat you could put rhubarb with. Never ever tried that before. It's only really just occurred to me as I was chopping. This is a fairly simple recipe, this, so I just thought we'd knock this together and do fermenting from start to finish. So I'm just going to quickly wash these. I could have left the intro music on for that, but never mind. There. Right, clean up my mess as we go. I'm back with the rhubarb. Taste it and then decide. Yes, I think that's the best bit. I mean, this will take 1 to 2 weeks once you get going. So what I'm going to do is we're currently fermenting our large jar, but when eventually it's done, they're going to need to stack just below. About that high, I would think, because they're going to go in with brine into these jars. So you want them to be able to stack to a certain level, the brine level to go just above it. Otherwise, they will go off, as indeed some of our sauerkraut did. So I'm going to use that as my baseline. Make sure none of them go taller than that. It doesn't actually, strictly speaking, matter because the jar that we've got currently sterilising is massive, but there's not really much point, I don't think, doing it in reverse. So this is a little bit exacting. So just, again, make sure that we're not... Yes, they've come up nicely under there. So I don't know if the camera can see. Let's just change the angle slightly. So that's my control stick, if you like. So I'm just making sure that each one comes underneath the maximum you can have there. So you can see there's just a little drop along the edge. So let's move that to one side. We don't actually need the jars yet at all. So I'm just, as we go along, now let's just do 2 short sticks there. And moving on. So let's, in fact, just go slightly up there. Lovely. And obviously we couldn't actually get rhubarb from our local grocer, so this is from a supermarket, so perhaps not as fresh as I would otherwise like it, but I couldn't resist. So in fact, let's just do that one there. Quite agree, Alice, you have a taste, and I should probably have a look at some recipe books as well and just see what's what. I'm thinking of, oh, I can't think what it is. There's chicken and peaches, that's a bit of a old school one. There's apricots and, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. This is Alice. What's the dish you have? Apricots and it's a meat.
Bacon.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's technically devils on horseback.
Devils on horsebacks, angels on chariots, or something like that. There's a full-blown meal that I'm thinking of as well, and I'm struggling to bring it to mind.
What, with apricots?
With apricots, yeah.
What, like a tagine?
Maybe.
Nothing that we've had.
No, we don't. It's not something that I've cooked for you. So yes, we've been having a somewhat impromptu but much needed relaxed weekend. We've actually went to the extent of turning off all electronic devices yesterday and just unplugged from the world for a little while, but it was much needed. We've done the same again today. So just one of those where I think we both knew we needed it, so wouldn't you say that's fair, love? A necessary unplugging? Yeah. Especially since our day jobs require screens and devices and constant connectivity, so it's quite good to disconnect. And of course had a lovely chat with our extended family and my grandmother, who lives outside of the UK. Just chop that bit off there, I'm not too happy with that. And that's about the most energetic today has been, really. Drinking coffee and chatting to them, which is lovely. So just a couple of small blemishes just to chop out. How's our sterilise? Our sterilised jar's nearly done. So all of these will hopefully then fit within our jars, unless I've made a mistake somewhere. Again, let's just chop that bit out. Not too fond of the way that looks. There. Ah. There we are. And, oops, daisy. Where's my evidence? Oh. There we go. Now, in case anyone happens upon this or is watching quietly in the background, when it comes to sterilisation of anything you want to ferment, which you must do every time, and now I'm going to turn this up for our dinner. I'm not cooking anything fancy tonight, we're just something we can throw in the oven. What you want to do is pop it, this is, as you can see, this is our huge jar, and that's our weights, which I'll come to in a minute. Pop them in the oven, 100 degrees on our, well, it's our fan. Ours is fan assisted, so 100 degrees fan assisted, maybe 115, 20 if it's not. 10 minutes only after you've washed it with warm soapy water. And that will do. These are now sterile, perfectly sterile. So we're going to let them cool down though, because we don't want to pour into a piping hot jar our various bits and pieces. In fact, so just in case actually it's not so bad. You can kind of hold it for a moment, so it's not too hot. I imagine the weights will be, yeah, the weights are pretty scaldingly hot, but we'll just move that to one side, off shot, let it cool down for a minute. Now, this recipe is resoundingly straightforward, so much so I thought I'd missed something first. So let me just finish chopping this, I'll talk you through it. We'll pop this recipe up on our Discord channel. How's that for some selfless promotion? The link is in our info section. So finish these. Now the recipe calls for 500 grams of rhubarb. We've got a little bit more than that. Just have a quick, let's have a weigh in, shall we? Let's see how much we've got. Just take it out. So gather all our rhubarb up that's been washed. So, oh, what you know actually, bob on, 500. Hookham on Health. Hello, Hookham. What do you do with fermented rhubarb? Hello, and good. First of all, hello. Welcome to our channel. Glad to have you here. I've never had this before, Hookham. This is one of those recipes where I'm experimenting for the first time. But looking at the guide, and I'll talk us through what we're doing, this seems to be useful for desserts. So you could do a rhubarb crumble. I'm a particular fan of crumble, so rhubarb and blackberry. In fact, just straight rhubarb. In fact, I normally have our stewed rhubarb on my breakfast, but I've not done fermented rhubarb yet. And a large part of what I'm experimenting with is fermenting things. So I'm going to probably try this first. It's going to take 1 or 2 weeks on a breakfast. But I will be putting up this recipe if it works and my suggestions on our Discord channel, and just to see, you know, I will look around, I'll see what other people do with it. In fact, I've just spotted a bit there that I don't like, so let's chop that off. So I hope you find so, Hookham. I hope you do find it interesting. We're doing lots of these bits and bobs. In fact, we've done, hang on a sec, because I'm nearly finished chopping actually, so I shall take this out. This is the remains of the giardiniera we did, which I appreciate doesn't look hugely appetizing on camera, but have I finished with, I can finish with this one. All this is, it's the same kind of thing. It's a salty brine, and you just put, for example, a variety of your favourite vegetables in, a couple of, I mean, you can see here, if I just pull these out, pop that to one side. What we've got in this giardiniera, by the way, is an Italian pickle. It's really straightforward. Again, you just take your favourite ingredients. We've got some carrots, got some celery, some leek, some pepper. All goes in our salted brine. I'll tell you what that is in a moment. And that's it. You literally just pop it in, and away you go. It is very light, very refreshing. And the idea is, if you chop it down, you can have it whole and in large chunks. But if I say, for example, just do a quick rough chop. Oh, this knife needs sharpening. If I just do a little chop down there, and what you've got is effectively, well, in my eyes anyway, just a nice light topping that you could put on a burger. It's very light, very refreshing. Mrs. Al's just toddling upstairs, and I should say, hang on a second. Love you. I'll let you know when dinner's ready. I shall keep chatting. Seems like a great way to use up extra veggies. Yes, it absolutely is. I'll see you in a bit, love. So, in our case, we went out and experimented, but I completely agree, Hookham. Best tip I can give them, I mean, I'll try and get this close to the camera. Ooh, drop it a bit there so you can see. Don't know if the camera's going to... I'll just do that until it focuses. That is just a little relish on top of a burger. It's super. Home garden, can't stress enough, that's a perfect way to use them, because and in fact we'll come back to why in a second with the rhubarb. You want them to go in when they're fresh, and I'm not speaking as though an expert. I've just read a lot so far and we're working through it. But if they go in fresh, they'll keep longer. If you put things in to ferment that are just a little bit close to, their use by, they won't last as long. With that said, perfect way to deal with it in the sense of if you think, right, hang on, for example, I might have some peppers, they're looking a bit close to the edge. Give them a wash, cut off the bits that aren't so good, for example, for the giardiniera, throw them in, get them in the brine, but just then eat them a little bit quicker than otherwise you'd recommend. Because obviously fresh ingredients, it might last for months. If they're maybe a bit closer to the edge, it might be, a week or two or something, but it still gets it used. And in the case of the giardiniera, this actually just flew out of the kitchen for me. Still love it. And particularly with this one, what you got in it is a lot of chili and a lot of seasoning. I know it's sort of at the bottom there, but it has an amazing kick to it. Really perfect for things like, I've used it in everything. I've mixed it into quinoa salads, I've put it on meats, I've eaten it just as is. But that will all go on our Discord channel. If you ever want to try it, I'll make sure the instructions are all there. But this is why, interestingly, with this one, I didn't get this from our... it is really versatile, Hookham, it's great. As indeed is rhubarb. I love the tartness of rhubarb, I really do. Couldn't get this from the greengrocer, so I don't know how old it is. So I've only just bought it, and I'm fermenting it for that exact reason, just to get it in and get it used. So what this is 500 grams of rhubarb, and then we want, I'll just grab them back. I thought I was going to throw them all in, but I thought I had more rhubarb than I did. And this is where the ease comes. So 1, 2, 3. And that's it. You don't even need to do anything with the chilies. Especially good actually if you grow your own chilies as well. We haven't this year for, everything's been up in the air. I've not been able to get the seeds. But say if it says you want a whole red chili. Now, if you grow your own, you might want to say, well, the smaller they are, the more powerful they are, so I might go for 2. Or, I don't know how much chili kick this is going to give it. We've never done it before. It might be that you want a bit more. You might want a bit less. It's all kind of laissez-faire. It's relaxed, however you want to do it. But what we do need to go with that is, and I've measured this before, it's 15 grams just of grated chili, grated ginger, and a tip I picked up from watching a couple of YouTube guides and shows and various bits and pieces. Don't ever do that thing where you see them going up and down, because you're going to blunt you'll actually blunt the edges. Yeah, I know, isn't it? Fresh ginger will go with just about anything. So tip to get the most out of it, resist the urge, just go down, watch your fingers of course. Mrs. Owl will be somewhere watching this going, oh god, you're going to lose his fingertips again. We've been having discussions about getting a mandolin, but the fact is it seems to run in the owl wider family that the men of the family are maybe not so good with the sharp-edged implements. We have a habit of coming a cropper. Now that's about as much as I can get. I'll chop the end of that. But if you do it like that, turn, take your knife. This one's a bit big to be fair, but then just run down, scrape to the end, tap, and out you go. Then and then out you go. Mandolins scare me. I know so many people. Yes, that's what Mrs. Owl is saying. I'm a lunatic for wanting it, because there was a moment earlier this year, in fact, we were going off for our wedding anniversary, and I was going to do, before we left, just a little stream. I can't even remember what we were doing actually. And I ended up slicing through my knuckle to the point where we were wondering if I needed to go to hospital to have stitches. And actually, in that case, it was my own stupid... There was a cup that... Yeah. There was a cup that I particularly liked that I'd accidentally broken, and I was saying, no, it's fine. I know where it's broken. I won't hurt myself on it. Went to go and do the washing up of it, and completely forgot, and just literally... It was one of those where I'm going, have I just done it down to the bone? Thankfully not, and with quite a lot of steri strips and not really moving it, it stayed put. But I think for those reasons, maybe I'll stay away from mandolins. But if you're slow and careful, you certainly won't lose it on a grater. And also, of course, you've got the advantage of food processors now as well. I mean, I am not, I don't think, fully utilising our food processor. And I say that because I know I've not used most of the heads. But again, I was just watching a couple of the online chefs, the likes of Bon Appetit and Binging with Babish, and indeed even Gordon Ramsay, for example. I picked up a couple of tips from doing the 10-minute pasta challenge of his, which included grating garlic, which I'd never thought to do. Rather than chopping it and then putting it in whatever you're cooking, he grated it straight on top of the cooked meal, which was great. Bought a food presser a few weeks ago, used it so many times, it's life-changing. Little things that help, aren't they? In fact, we've done that. I can't get them all out right now because I've forgotten where I've put them all. And indeed, some of them Mrs. Owl has very correctly stored away, but we've got a few around. A rice cooker is life-changing, I'll say that. The quality of rice is amazing. But this, for quick hand blending, I've not done it this time. Simple blade in there. I'm making this look harder than it is. Simple lock, clamp, and then pull. And it will do it all. Particularly if you like Italian dishes. Making the base, the holy trinity of onion, carrot, and celery makes it very quick. And that's the basis of most of a good Italian sauce. Oh, you love your, yes, Mrs. Al, we bought a couple of purchases recently. The rice cooker is her favourite. Her absolute favourite. So there we go, that's 15 grams of grated ginger. Now, first step I did before we even got started, which is make your brine. Now, your brine is basically good quality salt. This was as good as I could get where we were, which is, it is good to be fair, it's not the best, but it's Cornish sea salt crystals. 500 millilitres of filtered water, put the salt in, mix, let it cool down. It's not perfectly cool, it's sort of warm. But it's about as cool as I think we're going to get with the time. So we've washed our rhubarb. We've cut the stalks to a particular height, bearing in mind the sorts of jars that they're going to go in. So, in fact, I've lost my base stem, but you can see the idea. If I tilt slightly, you can see where the tip of my finger is. There's a little bit of space between there and the top, and that's because we want the liquid to always be above the top. Guessing you'd want to stay away from iodized salt for a brine. Yeah, I think you would. I mean, to be honest, most of the recipes I see try and get them, the fact they refer a lot to kosher salt. Now, I've not been able to get that where we are. In effect, I think you want the cleanest, clearest, finest salt that you can get, pretty much. I mean, let's have a look at this one, because I never actually look on the side. Let's just see. What's it got? There, I mean, that's the kind of thing that you're after here, really. Ingredients, sea salt, 100%. I mean, there's nothing else in there. I mean, it's about as good. This is probably as good as I can get around where we are, apart from going to the sea and maybe getting some of my own. So there we go. I mean, in terms of simplicity of instructions, this recipe really does take the biscuit. So if I just move that out of shot for a second, we'll take our sterilised jar here. Now, I don't know, Hookham, I'll say it again, I'm sorry if you already heard it. To sterilise your jar, if you fancy trying this or the giardiniera or anything like that, fan assisted oven, 100 degrees, for about 10 minutes after you've washed it with hot soapy water. And that is literally it. I did hot soapy water before we started. It's been in the oven 10 minutes on a fan assist at 100. Out it comes. It's now cool enough to handle. That's sterilised. That's ready for our various ingredients. And then 100 degrees Celsius. It is, sorry, yes, I appreciate get that right. 100 degrees Celsius. What would it be Fahrenheit? Do you know what? I'll put the Fahrenheit up on the... Actually, hang on a minute. My handy apron might have some... I love this apron. It's got ingredients in it and everything. Hang on. Temperature. There we are. So 100 degrees Celsius is going to be around the 215, 220 Fahrenheit. I know, this is so helpful. I'll try and turn around and it's got roasting times, liquid breakdowns, litres, ounces, pints, cups, you name it. So if I occasionally seem like I'm looking down at the floor, that's why. So once it's sterilised, in goes your rhubarb. I mean, it really is. This is one of the nice things about this, I think, particularly, that you could probably get kids involved with this as well if you fancy just getting them involved, see what it's like. Take your chilies, boom, in they go. So now that that's in the middle, actually, I will also pop in our grated ginger. In that goes. Just make sure we get all of that good stuff. Let's get all of that off the chopping board. There we go. In goes the rest. And then on goes, let's move that too, our brine. So hopefully the brine will get all the way over the top. I'm trusting the recipe that I've got here. If it doesn't, I'm going to make another... now there's a problem. Definitely does not get all the way to the top. So we are going to have to do a second lot of brine, because that is definitely not enough. You definitely want it all the way over. So that'll be a tweak straight away. That's 500 millilitres. That gets nowhere near. Now, thankfully, I haven't got filtered water. What I did was I boiled water and then let it go cool, just to get rid of any nasties that we might have. So that is another 550 millilitres. Hopefully this will do it, because otherwise we might be in a bit of stuck. So here we go. So in fact, actually, let's be more exact. Let's get the scales back and measure this out. Right. So that was 15 to 20 grams for 500 mil. So let's put another 15. In we go. Give this a good stir, because that was a little bit cool now, so we want that to thoroughly mix. Let's move that to one side. There we go. Now, fingers crossed, I might have to, in fact, let's just push that down a little bit. It's the same mixture. Let's just see how much we need once I've just pressed down. There we go, that's going to hopefully do the trick. Come on, down you go. Now, one thing I'll do at this point, because sometimes it's the weight of the ingredient, and this is why if you want to try fermenting things, Hookham or anyone who's watching, sterilise these the same way. These are your weights, because you want all of your ingredients to sit below the liquid line, because you do not want oxygen getting to them. So I'm giving it a little push. That one there sneaking out the side. So that's pushed all the way down. So let's tweak that recipe, because that was not 500 mil, that was... In fact, I'm trying to do this without putting my face in the camera, so it's just... In fact, let's measure that back out. Let's see how much we actually used. I'm not using these today, so I can re-wash them. So let's put that to mil. How many mil did we have left? 60. Right. Where's my trusty... I've got an apron here that tells me everything, but I've not got a pen. Hang on. Hold on a moment. There we are. Right. I'll pop the lid on quickly, and I'll tell you what the lid's for in a second. So we've got 60 mil. Make our little notebook here. So it wasn't 500, we went for 500 plus another 500, less 60, with another 15 grams for the second quantity. There we go. Right. And that, Hookham, if you fancy trying this, and of course in about 1 to 2 weeks, we will come back and we will see whether or not it's worked, because the next step is to leave it. this is a game of patience. Is fermenting things, because here we are. You can hopefully see it is all below that. I'm going to take you a little closer. Here we go. So take you off the tripod even. So hopefully we can see that everything is below the weights. Everything is below. Oh, Hookham, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I've been a little bit behind in putting the recipes up, but there will be a whole recipe section. But I look forward to seeing you and chatting to you there. Oh, super. Yes. Haven't dabbled in it. Whoa, hello. You brewed beer. You've caught my attention. Whatever I'm about to say can wait. You're a beer brewer. Tell us what you brew. What sort of things? You do ales, lagers? Anything I'm about to say can wait. Aside from brewing, when did you brew it? Recently? Mostly ales. Oh, how smashing. I mean, because I know my parents once tried to do, I think it was a thing back in the day. Oh, he loves craft beer. Oh, good man. Good man, good man. We've got, it's a fun family bonding thing. Oh, how marvellous. Yes, my parents did it with wine in a bag where you could make it at home. I've not done beer. I must admit, where we are, we live off in the countryside, and fairly close to us, rather oddly, is a home, sort of an independent business that brews their own ales, their own beers, their own lagers. I think they're tremendous. I really do. So, do you still do it then? Do you still do it with your dad? Do you sort of do it frequently, or is it just a sort of here and there thing? Beer is easy to do where I'm at because there's lots of grains easily accessible. Smash it. Where are you, Hookham? And Mr. Nosler, hello. How are you? Mr. Nosler and Hookham say hello to each other. Mr. Nosler, Hookham is one of our earliest arrivals. An aficionado of all things being Minnesota, USA. Oh man, oh smashing. Oh wow. So of course. Hang on. Forgive my geography of the USA, but doesn't that put you right? Isn't that the middle of the USA? Isn't that kind of where all the farm areas are? Because when you say you got access to grains and hops, I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, I was going to try and guess where you were. I'm very bad with way up north. There you go. There's my appalling understanding of American geography. My apologies. Oh, that's marvellous. Oh, that's something I would dearly like to do, but unfortunately, I don't think we've got that kind of access here in the United Kingdom to easily get grains and hops. So we are technically in the Midwest. I think, in fairness, if you're up towards Canada, I think we can we can definitely call that north, can't we? Are you having a good weekend, Mr. Nosler? Let me just, as you guys explained to Hookham, I know Mr. Nosler's seen this before, but what we've got here in terms of the lid is an air chamber. You may know about this actually, Hookham, because of your brewing of beer. The idea is simple, is that air and carbon dioxide is going to get out from the fermenting process. You know it, I don't even need to explain it. There you go. We've got exactly the same thing for fermenting. Just lets the gas out, doesn't let the oxygen in. Hey presto, fermentation. And that's it. It genuinely is that simple. Now we're going to leave that for a week or two. We're going to come back in a week or two and see what it tastes like. Because I have no idea. I've never done this before. It could be great. It could be... it could be, shall we say, of a particular taste. Enjoy more walks in the good weather. Good stuff, Mr. Nosley. It's yes, we've been given the all clear to safely go and walk places. So that's excellent. And that's it. So we simply store that away, and Bob's your uncle. So I think actually for this weekend, I was just chatting to Alice before she arrived. We've had a fairly relaxed one since we were doing the games on Friday. We just had a sort of disconnect, turned off all of our phones and put our feet up sort of weekend. I've just come back into it just to get this on the go. We're probably going to come back into... I'm not actually cooking anything fancy at all tonight. I can't even show you anything sort of intriguing or interesting on that front. But we have got coming up, and to be honest, I really do need to sort of get on Discord and upload the various recipes. We're doing a form of an Indian tomato fermented pickle, whose name has just escaped me and I can't pronounce it anyway. But we're going to be doing that. We're going to be looking at soon doing kimchi. I can't get access where I am to Napa cabbage is the problem. But hopefully we'll be able to resolve that fairly soon. And we're just going to get back into maybe just doing a bit more of this fermenting and pickling rather than the recipes. I will, however, be having a shot at doing Gordon Ramsay. Hookham, you may know Gordon Ramsay from his Hell's Kitchen show. We know him here more as the shouty, sweary man. But he does a very excellent recipe for, yes, good old Gordon and his craggy forehead, bless his heart. He does, however, have a superb recipe for prawns and pasta and a challenge of doing it inside of 10 minutes. I have failed every time. I'm giving it one more go to try and get below 10 minutes before I can sign it to our Discord channel and anyone can give it a shot. We've managed 16 minutes was the closest I got, but we're going to give that a try. So we're going to be on this week. We're going to be doing some more of the games that we've been playing. Mr. Nosler, there will be some more This Is the Police. We'll pick up having bumped off our somewhat inept, I've even forgotten their name. They were that bad. We said, Hookham, I don't know if you're into computer games at all, but we're a combination of cooking and games. And we were playing This Is the Police, where you send off your officers to go and deal with things and you administer them and send them off to go and fight crime or not. And we sent someone, bless their heart, to what should have been an unfailable mission, to simply go and look at a car. And they were shot. I don't quite know how we did that. It wasn't particularly successful. But because we'll do that, we'll also explore our various side dishes that we do, the sort of healthy snacks that we've got going on, the equivalent of potato tots or tater tots. We've done them with cauliflower. We're looking as well at the hot wings. I know I've been talking about that while haven't I, Mr. Nosler, about the hot wings and working out our own sauces. And particularly, I want to try a baked bean recipe soon, because I've been pining to do that, and now getting different types of kidney and pinto and sort of mixed beans are sort of coming back, and they're more easily accessible on the shelves where we are. So we'll give that a shot too. But until then, we have our experiment. It's perhaps a little bit warmer than I'd like, but it'll cool down. It's not going to do anything too drastic to it. It's just slightly warm to the touch. It's slightly heated up. And we will put on our various social media what we're going to do for this week. So I suppose that's really going to be it for us for today. So what have you chaps got going on for the coming week? And, well, I suppose what's left of the weekend? You got anything nice planned whilst we sort of tidy up here before we head off? Appreciate it's a shorter stream than normal, but this is it's one of those where once you've got it ready, we then have to wait 1 or 2 weeks, and we all have to have a little patience as it sort of does its magic and does its thing. Mostly just working for me. Streaming on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday though. Smashing! What do you do, Hookham? Is it games, or is it? Are you a food broadcaster? What do you do? If I can work out how to host a cooking, smashing! I shall be sure to come and watch and say hello. Tuesday, Friday, or Saturday. Marvellous. If I can ever work out how to do the host a person whilst they're on and I'm not, I shall set it up for you. So Mr. Nosler and Joe, Joe's not here today, but he's one of our early chaps. They can have a look at what you're up to too. What sort of things do you cook? What do you do? Oh, it's my pleasure. No, it's an absolute pleasure. The only problem with me doing it is working out how on earth to get Streamlabs OBS to behave and do my women bidding. A little bit of everything, though I like to keep things simple. Neither am I, Hookham. Neither am I. Anyone that thinks that this is professional need only watch for I think about 10 minutes, and they shall realise This is amateurville. It's just a nice thing to do. I do enjoy it. You're a star. As ever, Mr. Nosler is a star and a champion. Bless him, whilst we were waiting for things to work, he was even to the point where he's watching me and having a chat, doing the washing up. I mean, can you ask for more from a chap? What a star. Yes, and I do too. I mean, I am cheating this weekend. I'm literally just doing chicken and peas this evening. I fancy just doing nothing of particular challenge or note. Give me a chance to deep clean the kitchen, which it's in need of a deep clean. Yes, I do remember feeling terribly bad for Mr. Nos whilst we were waiting for something, and you had the joy of basically watching us make a cup of coffee as well. Yes, it is a time where I think something easy and relaxed is called for. I'm definitely not a professional cook. I'm definitely not a professional gamer. As I think anyone that watches I have a level of challenge at the moment for first-person shooters. I've gone from can I find someone to can I hit someone. It's taken a while, but we actually managed a glancing warning shot of somebody. I mean, talk about progression. It really was it was embarrassing, Hookup. He didn't even know I was there. I could have walked up behind him and whacked him with a saucepan. I don't know what it is. Mrs. Owl has said, you aren't good at these. I've never seen you be good at these games. I said, I swear I used to be. And I just get the appropriate look that says, well, I've never seen it. I can't seem to recreate it, so I don't know if maybe it was a figment of my own delusion where I'm saying, yes, I can play these games. How did I die again so suddenly? What happened? Where were they? Yeah, when I get to I'll check the computer's all right. It crashed the other day when we were playing it, but I shall put some more clips up. In fact, I'll probably put up the one of the first and only glancing shot of Players Unknown Battleground. And along with falling off a cliff and dying, which was perhaps a little bit anticlimactic for the poor folks that were watching and waiting for something to happen to simply have death by falling after about 20 minutes. And we didn't even see anybody on that round. I fell off a cliff. It was yes, professional gaming. It was not. So yes. So I mean, I didn't even. I don't think we did, unless I'm blurring too. I seem to remember one where I said, "Aha! I found someone," and then I was too far away and couldn't see them. So I fired some shots at them, and then had the realization that I was on top of a cliff. I blurred too. I have blurred too. The time I fell off the cliff, I found them near a car, probably way, and I went, "I shall have them," and I pulled out the gun and fired, and nothing happened. I could actually see the characters are sort of looking around going, what? Oh, okay. Fired again. And eventually they just stopped bothering to look. It's just someone shooting at me. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. So, okay, we'll move on. I'll clip them. I'll put them on our on the channel. I'll put them on our Instagram as well. But we did, more relaxed, I think. I don't go in for the more strenuous stuff. I've been contemplating some horror games. So someone's shooting at me, but it doesn't seem to be. Yes, that's pretty much my style. He's emptied his magazine. John, I tell you what, Ashley. The first time I played the game, and the first time I ever killed anyone, I am embarrassed to say, they made me jump out of my skin, and I had something called the micro Uzi. I emptied that micro Uzi and hit everything but the poor gentleman that had walked through the door. He genuinely looked like he had jumped out of his skin and looked around the room, ran at me with a crowbar, and clobbered me. Now, I wasn't going to take that lying down, so in a moment of, oh well, never mind, I pulled the pin of the grenade I had, threw it at my feet, and made sure that I took him with me, and we both got blown to smithereens. It was not my greatest moment. It was, however, the first time I ever successfully took anybody out on that particular computer game of the Battleground generated by Mr. Player Unknown. Live it's a debacle, but we don't pretend it's anything but. But it is why I do like the relaxed games. So the likes of, I get to chat to you folks, I get to chat to Mr. Nosler, we play This Is the Police, it's just nice, it's calm, it's gentle, it's a good way to spend your time. I've been chatting with family and friends as well. We might try and introduce the likes of Blackwake, the pirate game. We've got Trouble in Terrorist Town and Prop Hunt. If you've ever heard of them, it's like hide and seek basically with Gary's mod. So if you don't know what it is, basically team of three and I think a team of three people will hide as an inanimate object. So like for example, if you got your jar of, look at that bringing it back in. If you got your jar of fermented rhubarb in the map, you run up and click on it and suddenly another one will magically appear. And then you just don't move. You will sort of call out to them when they're sort of Marco Polo, and you have to, the hunters will just try and find where you are. So it's hilarious scenes where if someone panics, you just suddenly have this jar of fermented rhubarb just go and just try and run away. That's our style, Hookham, and you're always welcome to come and say hello and see what's going on. You will find no competitive high-stress gaming in this corner of Twitch. I can promise you that. Oh dear. In fact, to us, Mr. Nosler, have you got any requests coming up? Are you happy for some more of This Is the Police? We've got The Room going as well, The Room 3, which is a puzzle game. So we're going to carry on with that. That's something that Mrs. Owl and I can play together. But it's those kinds of things. It's nice, it's gentle, it's just sort of enjoyable. And you can do it with family and friends, and you can chat and do various bits and bobs. And have snacks. Snacks are awesome. Anyway, listen to me. I could prattle on for hours, and however, what I shall do is I shall get this kitchen deep cleaned. We'll get this into our understairs cupboard where it's nice and cool, and we'll be back on this week. We'll do a combination of our games. We're going to do some more food of some type, possibly even the third take of the Gordon Ramsay, because I've actually got all the ingredients in, so that might be quite a good one to do, and we love the dinner. And I will get those ingredients up onto Discord. I keep saying I'll do it, and I keep running out of time. Lego Star. Oh, actually, we've got Lego Batman as well, I've noticed. It came in one of the humble bundles, but I'll certainly look up Lego Star Wars. I certainly will. I've never actually played any of the Lego games. I haven't thought about it. And we definitely have one, because I bought that COVID humble bundle where all the money went off to helping fight the good fight. So I'll definitely look at that. In fact, actually, because I didn't have a computer for a while. Hookham, you're an absolute star. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I try and broadcast it. Oh, Hookham, you flatter me. I'm truly honoured. Thank you very much. It's hugely appreciated. We stick all of our back catalogue onto YouTube. I try and get Twitter to work and say, here we are, we're going live. We do it on Instagram too. We've got the Discord, the recipes are going there. You're always welcome in our genteel corner of the world. In fact, to be honest, I've tried, and I know someone actually was very kind and followed us on here the other. You're an absolute star, Hookham. Thank you. They came and followed us actually whilst we were live, and I thought I'd set up an alert box, and it would ping up and it would say, so I could say thank you very much, because obviously it's hugely flattered, and it's lovely to have people to come on and chat to. But it didn't work for some reason, which is, and in fact, I don't know why, so I need to fix that too. So there might actually be a stream where I come on and you just see me fiddling with computer settings, and I will say hello to anyone who's there. But that's our generalised plan. We've got lots of games because I didn't have a computer for a while, so we started with the cooking and started in full force, and of course that's where we met the fine Mr. Nosler and Joe, and we got chatting about baked beans. The first thing I can't remember what is the first thing on Insta? Instagram indeed. I can't remember. Gee, I really can't remember. What was the first thing I put there? Oh, hey, was it just my picture and the word hoot? That's all I could think to. I was brought into the 21st century. I'm now becoming well versed in the lingo. I saw the pic for today, and then my second thing is, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Well, that's also, this corner of the world. What's going on? It's anybody's guess sometimes. It's anyone's guess. And I know, Mr. Noss, you were very kind, and you tested out the suggestions box for us. You went to have a look at it. I'm not sure about that application to show the Steam library. I might take that off, because it only shows you a fraction of the games I've got, which isn't really very helpful. Because there may be things in there you think, wow, I've never heard of that. What's that all about? And since I've just not had the chance, and I've got a huge back catalogue, I might think the same and think, oh, yeah, we'll try that. We'll see what that's about. In fact, I tried one. It was, I don't know where I got it from. It was the 90th anniversary of Ducati, and it's a motorbike racing game. And all I've discovered is I'm very good at driving at sand traps. Unless I meant to have a steering wheel or something, all it seemed to do was accelerate massively, fly into the sand trap, and send my biker flying on his backside into a wall. So if you do see that one, I'm not sure that's one that we will probably return to. Unless seeing bikers fly into sand traps is what we're all about. I think we'll probably err on the side of finding Lego Star Wars and trying that instead. But there's a big catalogue there, and you can hop onto, if you game, you can hop onto Steam. You can see what is in my library anyway. But I'm still tweaking. I'm still testing. So we'll put that up there. We'll find a way to sort of put our ideas up, and so people can see what we're planning. Oh, there's 2 votes for Lego Star. Well, there we go. Clearly we're heading in the Lego Star Wars direction. I shall go and look it up. Right, gents, I'm going to go and deep clean the kitchen because it needs it. I've not done it all weekend, so I'm going to get my marigolds on and give it a thorough scrub. Mr. Nosler, Hookham, and Alice was here earlier. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure, chatting to all of you. I look forward to chatting to you all again. Hookham, I look forward to seeing your stream. I shall be sure to pop into one of them this week, either on it was Tuesday, and it was Friday, and it was Saturday. So I shall come and see one of them. I shall go and follow you as well on here, so I know when you're live. I shall come and say hello, and I shall regale you with how things are going. So both of you, all of you, anyone in the background who's just sat enjoying, have a marvellous rest of your Sunday. Take care. I hope you have a great start to next week when it gets going. I look forward to seeing you and chatting to you as the week goes on. So I know Mrs. Owl is currently upstairs busy on her own project. She'd want me to say toodaloo from her and a very warm and thankful toodaloo from myself. Have a lovely evening, folks. See you again soon.